is going on, guys? It's BearMilk here, and today we're going to be taking a step back from the live commentary to talk a little bit about the Battlefield franchise, and what better way to do so than by setting our conversation upon the backdrop of some really spicy Battlefield 1 medic gameplay. Before we do get into the video though, guys, I do ask that you please smash that like button and pound, demolish, destroy that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton and shows me that you guys enjoy the content that I produce. With that out of the way, let's first start by talking about what makes a Battlefield game good, and decide what is important in a future addition to the series. Whether or not you like Battlefield 5, we can all pretty much agree that the last true Battlefield game was Battlefield 1, a game that is very close to my heart and revolutionized the direction of the franchise completely. So let's go ahead and start with Battlefield 1. It was the first shooter that I played where each map felt both calculated and open. Some Battlefield 5 and 4 maps followed too closely in the steps of Call of Duty, trying to rush the action with narrow alleyways and strict boundaries. However, each Battlefield 1 map had the intense action of a Call of Duty game minus the crowded and claustrophobic feel. This is extremely important because it made us believe that we were actually fighting a war. It completely sucked us into each match and allowed us to feel like we were playing for a purpose. Winning felt so rewarding and left us wanting more. Battlefield 1 also revamped the gunplay, changing the TTK or time to kill to fit a perfect middle ground, giving you the ability to stay alive when encountering multiple enemies while also ensuring that you couldn't run around like a total tank. In my opinion, the Battlefield 5 TTK took a step in the wrong direction, more towards Call of Duty's approach, which promotes fast-paced gameplay over pure strategy. The actual guns themselves also just sounded crisp, clean, delicious. There are plenty of adjectives that could describe the satisfaction of listening to your gun fire, but simply put, it was just awesome. It enhanced the realism of the game, allowed you to identify enemy classes based on each gun's unique noise, and, most importantly, it made everything significantly more atmospheric. Battlefield 4 laid the foundation for the franchise's excellent gunplay, and Battlefield 1 built a monument upon it. However, Battlefield 5 again fell short of the mark, its gunplay feeling stale and unpolished. Level destruction is another really important aspect of the Battlefield franchise. Battlefield 4 paved the way with its then revolutionary Levolution, and Battlefield 1 and 5 added terrain destruction that would build up as each match progressed. By the end of the match, you would be capturing objectives across a war-torn battlefield marked by raised buildings and giant craters. Epic. It was fucking epic. Classes have also been a huge part of the franchise's evolution. Each class has a very unique and predictable playstyle. This means that if you strategize, your team can find a perfect balance between each class and play the map like a chess game. Assault players aggressively push the action, acting as the meat shields for the rest of the team. Medic ensures that each push can endure as they struggle to keep players alive. Support players make sure that the enemy keeps its distance, and scouts provide a gateway for each push on an objective. Battlefield 1 handled this again the best in my opinion. You really felt like you needed to rethink your playstyle for the class you were playing as, and if you did, the payoff would be massive. Teams that were balanced in their class distribution often dominated, as each role was filled and acted out to perfection. Now that we have a general idea around the pros of a Battlefield game, let's talk about what needs to happen in order for DICE, the developers of Battlefield, to avoid the mistakes of Battlefield 5 and move the franchise forward in the same way that Battlefield 4 and 1 did. First, let's talk about time. It is no secret that usually the more time spent on a game, the more polished and successful that game will be. And this certainly holds true regarding major titles like Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and of course, Battlefield. DICE needs to not rush their release, which seems to be their current strategy. As of right now, the next Battlefield game is set to release sometime within the 2021-2022 window. This is of course after the release of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet, so that it can jump on the wave of next-gen gaming. With the current time window, DICE should have much more time to polish the game than they had with Battlefield 5, and this will hopefully result in a similar caliber of game as Battlefield 4 and 1. Second, let's talk about pacing and playstyle. It seems that Battlefield 5 tried to incorporate the more fast-paced gameplay of Call of Duty and Battlefield 4 with the steady and strategic gameplay of Battlefield 1, which was ultimately a failure. If Battlefield is to continue its evolution as a franchise, it needs to pick a path and stick to it. I personally would hope that the developers build upon the foundation laid by Battlefield 1. However, I respect that some of you want a return to the gameplay style of Battlefield 4. What we can agree on is that a focus on both styles results in sloppy gameplay, and so the next installment needs that singular focus. Third and finally, let's talk about how DICE can incorporate all of the spicy things we discussed earlier in the video. Really, it's quite simple. DICE just needs to remember what Battlefield is about at its core and why it has amassed such a devout following. The next game should have those open and beautiful maps that made us players stand back in awe at the splendor of something truly digital. We should be able to really feel the guns that we're playing with as if they were actually there, with sounds that create the ambience which sucks us in. As we run across the battlefield, we should see the dirt flying across our monitors and TV screens, with collapsing buildings shattering before us. Our classes should represent our playstyles so that each person has the ability to thrive throughout battle while engaging the enemy how they want to. These are what make a Battlefield game fun, and if DICE wants to suck in millions of players like it has in the past, it needs to utilize what makes it so damn special. Although the timeline and setting of the next game have yet to be released, if DICE tries half as much as they did with the franchise's best titles, we are in for one hell of a game. All I know is that I am excited for what DICE brings to the table with the next installment of the franchise, and I hope that you guys are too. If you like the video, please smash that like button, pound that subscribe button, and scroll on down to the description to follow my socials and check out my Patreon. It means a lot to me that this channel is growing like it is, and I personally want to thank each of my subscribers for sticking with me on this YouTube journey, not knowing where it will take us. Thank you guys again so much for watching the video. It's Bear Milk, over and out.